Hello and welcome to the Irish Pagan School YouTube channel. We are here for another recording of the metrical Dinnshenchas with myself, Laura O'Brien, co-founder of the Irish Pagan School. And we are still working through Tara. So we have done poem 3 and we are now on poem 4. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. It is another long one, but not hugely long. So let's go. Poem 4, Chever a Cahar. This world, transient its splendor, perishable gathering of 100 hosts, deceitful to describe is the multitude of delights, save only the adoration of the King of all things. Perished is every law concerning high fortune, crumbled to the clay is every ordinance. Chever, though she be desolate today, once on a time was the habitation of heroes. There was no exhaustion of her many-sided towers. Where was the assembly of storied troops? Many were the bands whose home was the green-soiled, grassy keep. It was a stronghold of famous men and sages, a castle like a trunk with warrior scions, a ridge conspicuous to view in the time of Cormac, grandson of Conn. Fair is the title that protects it, the name he chose to mark it out among cities, the fort of Crowin, pen of victory, excels Boan, millstone of combat. When Cormac was among the famous, bright shone the fame of his career. No keep like Chever could be found. She was the goal of the world's road. Strong before the hosts was the might of this king who used to ride through Chever. Better for us than tribes unnumbered is the tale of his household retinue. The great house with thousands of soldiers was not obscure to posterity. The shining fort with the choicest of the illustrious, apparently. So, apologies. 700 feet was its measure. Fierce folly did not hold sway over it, nor strictness of harsh wisdom. It was not too small for separation. 6 times 5 cubits was its height. 9 walls it had. Fierce fight could not demolish, with 9 ramparts round about them. With noble equipment of the noble scions, it was a fort illustrious and impregnable. The dwelling of the king, king over Erin, was a refuge, a keep, a fortress, whereon was poured out the sparkling wine. There were thrice 50 chambers in it. Thrice 50 heroes with coronets. It was a castle not foolish and brawling. That was the tale according to the counts of fortresses in every chamber of the number. Goodly was the throng in this wise. The gold gleamed from their weapons. Thrice 50 stately couches there were, and 50 men to each shining couch. 7 cubits, an honest reckoning, before the crowded warlike company, with blazing torches burning, that was the measure of the hearth. Other 7 I have heard, made in truth a brightness beyond denial, majestic, notable, noble, beautiful chandeliers of brass. This sunny, shining citadel, festive, martial with casque staves, therein, amid radiant hospitality, were doors twice 7 in number. That was the right of that king, a vessel from which that host would drink. A vast capacity was the full content thereof. 300 draughts there were in that vessel. Harmonious and stately was the carouse of the fiery chieftains and noblemen. There were none neglected of the number. 300 cupbearers dispensed the liquor. 9 times 50 beakers to choose from. Their abundance was a case of choice. Except what was carbuncle, clear and strong, all was gold and silver. Thrice 50 steaming cooks in attendance unceasingly, with victuals and abundant supply, on the jolly kings and chieftains. 50 noble stewards with the well-guarded honourable prince, 50 festive spruce lackeys with each 50 of kingly champions. 50 men standing guarded the sturdy wolf, as long as the king was a-drinking, to ward off mischances for him. It was the glory to the prince that was greatest. Every day his retinue was more numerous. 30 hundreds whom he kept in attendance, the son of art counted daily. The chief company of the good, genuine poets who declared the rule of their assembly, along with the professors of every art in general, 'tis certain whatever that company says is not folly. Let us tell in full tale the household of the house of Chever for posterity. This is their right number, 30,000 in all. When Cormac was in Chever, beyond all prowess for his great might, a kingly equal to the son of Art Ainfer, was not to be found among the men of the world. Cormac fair of form was the firm set foundation of the kingdom. He was born of white-skinned Echtach. He was son of the daughter of Ulch Acha. Since Solomon was a searching, who was better than all progenies together? Has any progeny like Cormac enjoyed the world? Well, that was basically a praise poem for Cormac mac Art, Cormac the son of Art, who was the grandson of Conn of the 100 Battles. So this is one of the places that the idea of the whole High King at Tara came from. Now, it's repeated in multiple different places, this kind of theme of this High King at Tara ruling over the rest of Erin, over the whole island. Historically, that never really happened. We are a tribal society, and I believe maybe Brian Boru got the closest to uniting the tribes, the Gaelic tribes of Ireland. But in the days that we're talking about here, there was no unity of kingship. So he probably held a very good stronghold at Tara. And of course, if these descriptions are anything to go by, then he absolutely did. But a lot of this is kind of propaganda for this particular king, right? And you have to kind of take it as much that as with with any kind of historical accuracy. Now, that being said, I don't think it's entirely made up either. Tara was amazing. Tara is amazing. But there are descriptions, similar descriptions of other places, such as Rathcruachan. I mean, you all knew I was going to mention Rathcruachan, right? With similar descriptions of the palaces, and probably up at Aon Macha in the north, in Ulster. So this is kind of a thing that was done, all these detailing all the chandeliers of brass and the amount of cupbearers, and the warrior standing guard when the wolf, who Conn, the name Conn comes from, it's the same root as Cu, which would be hound. So him being called the sturdy wolf here is a direct kind of relation to his name. Just FYI. So, and I just want to mention one more thing. He was born of the white-skinned Echtach, the first fucker to decide that is in any way racial orientated, can just remove themselves from the channel right now. And this whole white-skinned Echtach is a description of beauty, and it's more like pale skinned, but it's not to do with the melanin. It's to do with the whole idea that noble women didn't have to be out toiling under the sun. So that's where the whole fair shoulders or white skinned or any of those kind of descriptions come from, in relation to beauty or grace or anything like that. It is absolutely not racially motivated, just for the record, just while we're here. So If any part of you heard that and was like, ha, ha, then this is not the channel for you. Okay, so with that, we will finish here and check below for all the links and the sources. And this is a whole playlist, so make sure you go back to the start. Certainly get the introduction, even if you don't want to go through all the previous Tara videos. Poem 5 is Tara again, and then poem 6 is Achel. So we will be moving through the metrical Dinnshenchas, and this is Edward Gwyn's translation, just for people who haven't seen the introduction, but it does go through the introduction video on this playlist, goes through all the details for you. Okay, so this has been brought to you by the Irish Pagan School. This is a labor of love by me, Laura O'Brien, dedicated to all of my neurodivergent and people with difficulties seeing or reading or concentrating or focusing on the ancient texts, but who still want to actually access them. So we are doing this for accessibility as and when we can on this channel. So if that's useful to you, then make sure that you like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, do all that fun stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Slán go fóill.